Thank you for joining us. This is the Friday edition of the Nikki Maduro Show. I am Nikki Maduro. She is Kim McAllister. You know what's something fun I'm doing this weekend, my friend? I don't know if they do it in your neck of the woods.
What?
Have you heard of the Mrs. Roper romp?
I have heard of it, and no, they don't do it here, but it sounds really fun. It's where everyone dresses like Mrs. Roper from Three's Company, right? In a big caftan with a big chunky necklace.
So we're doing it. We are doing it. I'm doing it. My husband's doing it with me, and he's dressing up as well. So we're going to be doing that. Maybe I'll have some pictures on Monday. So I'm hoping it's cooler. I'm thinking about this because I'm like slitzing over here, and I'm really hoping with this gigantic wig on my head that it's going to be a little bit cooler over here. But anyways, happy Friday, you guys. We have a fun show, talking a little bit of politics, talking a little bit about vacation as well towards the end of the show. But before we do that, you guys click the thumbs up button and the subscribe button to show your support for the show. Something we didn't talk about yesterday, Kim, which was big news in the sense of, and I'm just going to say this, I know it's likely symbolic, okay? I know that this is likely symbolic, but Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has launched an effort to impeach Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. Because the guy is dirty dog, and we all freaking know it.
And Samuel Alito, both of them. Calling them out in these articles of impeachment that are supported by at least 8 or 9 other Congress people. And I think it's important. And, you know, it's interesting because is it going to go anywhere? No.
Probably not.
But you know what it can get? Publicity. It can get people talking about it. It can get people frustrated about why it looks like the Supreme Court is on the take. And it's all about calling attention to what is happening. And at the same time that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez brings these articles of impeachment, there's calls now for an investigation into Clarence Thomas as well. So he's dealing with a double whammy over there. And maybe he doesn't care. And maybe he's like, it's going to be fine. I don't know.
Well,
but I say bring it into the press, bring it into the mainstream and the public eye, because everyone needs to know.
Well, here's my concern. Okay, you want to know my concern?
Yes.
My concern is this. Clarence Thomas doesn't give 2 rats butts, because what he will do, if this does lead to trouble, and this is, again, why you don't vote for Donald Trump, he'll just step down. And then they will put in a younger, more conservative Supreme Court justice to replace him. So this could lead to, yes, it doesn't change the actual numbers, but it changes the freaking age. It makes him last even longer on the bench unless we change term limits and actually do something like that seems absolutely impossible. Wow. Imagine if they both step down. And then you put some 40, 50-something-year-olds on there. Very conservative, wackadoo freaking judges. I wouldn't put it past Trump if he wins. Vote blue, people. Yeah. It is more important than ever. And I hope you people watched that Bad Faith documentary, because they talk about this as well. The judges, the appointments. You know, another factoid that came out of that Bad Faith documentary. You would have thought that Roe v. Wade, the Republicans made their first in the moral majority that started with Jerry Falwell. Okay, Jerry Falwell, you know, he was, you know, this wackadoo evangelical that had like this radio show, and he was this wackadoo. You know, he was one of those people that preaches about morality, and he's like the dirtiest dirty dog, right?
Exactly. Okay. Yes.
Anyways, they did not
hypocrisy.
They didn't speak out about Roe v. Wade until 5 years after Roe v. Wade became law. You know what they spoke out about first? The loss of tax exemption from any school that's segregated, because Jerry Falwell's school was all white. And they didn't like that one friggin' bit. They're very anti-integration. So, like, if you think that the moral majority gave 2 rats butts about, like, Roe v. Wade, that wasn't what set them off. They just wanted to keep the whites and the blacks separate, because that all fits in to this white Christian nation that they want to go back to.
Why is this country so full of a-holes? Why?
Because it's the loss of power. It's the othering. It's all of that. I don't want to, again, I went off yesterday on this Bad Faith documentary. I am urging you guys, please watch it and then share it on your social media. Like, it needs to kind of go more viral. It's been out since earlier this year, But again, I feel like it's not, and I made this analogy, it's not like the 2000 or 20,000, whatever mules thing, that mockumentary.
Yeah.
It shows you the video. It shows you the interviews. It's not like they're making this
Yeah.
up. These people say it. They say it clearly. They make it abundantly clear what they want. They're not superimposed. This isn't, them changing up their deep fake voices or anything. This is real. And you have to understand, they've been laying the groundwork for this back then until now. It is vital we stay on track to protect our democracy, where we can agree to disagree. I want to go
Yeah.
back where Democrats and Republicans can disagree about policy, not about want to undermine our democracy because you want to go back to a Christian nationalist nation. I mean, give me a friggin' break over here. So anyways, I'm getting all hot and bothered again, but go watch that documentary.
Telling you.
I'm telling you, it's all there. It's all freaking there.
I love your fire.
You. Okay, so, and it kind of goes along the same lines. There's another narrative, again, white, Christian, and it's not all white people, because again, just because your skin is white doesn't mean they like you, okay? Because we're not talking about Jewish people. We're not talking, there's caveats, huge caveats on what kind of people are at the top and everybody else at the bottom, okay? So the House GOP, again, is bringing up this whole, you need to prove whether or not you are a citizen to vote. And it's this bill that they're calling out, and they did it this week. Democrats want to flood the United States with illegal immigrants because they'll put them on the voter rolls, and then Republicans will never win another election. The truth of the matter is, and they say this again in the documentary, and it actually statistically works out, the more people who vote, statistically and historically, the more people, American citizens who vote, most of them vote Democratic. It just works that way. It just does. Popular vote, it just does. Why? Because we are a very diverse nation, okay? Republicans know this. So what do they want to do?
Keep us from voting.
They want to suppress the vote. Even in this documentary, that Paul Wyeth guy I was talking about, he even says, he's like, I don't want everybody to vote. He says it out loud. I don't want everybody to vote. I do not want everybody to vote. He wants people to vote like him. And so, of course, the GOP wants to make it tougher for people to vote. So they went this week and they want proof of citizenship to vote. They're calling out Democrats. They're making up this story. Now, Democrats and voting rights advocates have said that the legislation the GOP is putting forth is unnecessary because it's already a felony for non-citizens to register to vote in federal elections. It's punishable by fines, prison, deportation. Anyone registering must attest under penalty of perjury that they're a U.S. citizen. They've also pointed a survey showing millions of Americans don't have easy access to up-to-date documentary proof of citizenship. You were mentioning that, Kim, earlier.
Yeah.
Like, it's not easy to get a passport at the drop of a hat. Anybody that's trying to plan a vacation and all of a sudden opens the drawer and sees that their passport has expired knows exactly what I'm talking about.
And I mean, I don't know. Do you have your birth certificate laying around?
I probably can find it, but not close. Like, I don't know.
On
I'd have to
election
dig-
day, if they tell you got to go home and get your birth certificate to prove your citizenship, do you know where it is? Do you know what to do?
Exactly. Sean Morales Doyle is the director of voting rights at the Brennan Center for Justice, and said if the bill were to pass, it would not safeguard American voting eligibility, but immediately disenfranchise millions of American citizens. Now, why would the GOP want that? Now, all you have to look at is probably our last few elections to say, well, has there been a problem with this? Now, here's what actual evidence shows. Research and audits in several states show there have been incidences of non-citizens who successfully register to vote and cast ballots. It happens rarely and is typically by mistake. States have mechanisms to check for it, although there isn't one standard protocol. For example, Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose recently found 137 suspected non-citizens on the entire state's rolls out of roughly 8 million votes. And he took action to confirm and remove them. So the system worked. In 2022, Georgia, remember Georgia? He conducted an audit of the state's voter rolls, specifically looking for non-citizens. They found 1,634 had attempted to register to vote over a period of 25 years. But election officials had caught all of the applications. None had been able to register. We have a system in place. It works. The GOP doesn't like it because they realize that the more people, the more American citizens who vote don't
Yeah.
vote with them. That's the problem. And that's what they don't like.
No. And statistically, it's a drop in the bucket. It's made no difference
It
to the
doesn't make
outcome
any
of elections.
exactly.
No.
It makes
Mm-mm.
no difference. But they want to make it seem like it does. They
Yeah.
want to make it seem. And again, only in the races in which they lose. They're never raising this up in races in which they win. When they win, there was no problem in this
Yeah.
election. You never hear them yelling and screaming about elections in which they win. It's only the ones in which they lose. I wonder why. Okay, so it's total BS. They could shove it up their behind. And we need to start seeing through it. And we need to call it out. We need to really
Yeah.
just call it out and stop with the nonsense. And again, look, I have no problem, and I keep saying this, I have no problem with improving the system we have in place. But unless and until there is a way in which I don't know that every single I don't know. I think the system works. I really do. I think that Donald Trump poisoned the well with this idea that there was something wrong with the last election, even though it was the most scrutinized election that we've ever had. That he made us feel like the system needs to be improved. No, it doesn't. We checked, we double checked, we triple checked. It's
Yep.
fine. The system freaking works. And I don't care what Elon Musk or anyone else says. They can, again, shove it up their butt because they're full of it and they just don't like it because their side lost. Now, there was something that I even hesitate to say it because Josh Hawley himself, who I cannot stand, is on this list of people in Congress, bipartisan, Kim, that did something that I actually agree with.
Wow.
Senators reach a bipartisan deal. And do you know what it's on? I'm actually, this is good. This is so good for us, for the nation. We were talking about the US Supreme Court and
Yeah.
how you shouldn't be getting gifts from people
No.
that can influence you, right?
Right.
Senators reach a bipartisan deal to ban stock trading by lawmakers. More
About
than
time. Yeah.
3/4 of Americans support such a ban. The bill would ban lawmakers from buying and selling stocks 90 days after the measure is signed into law. It would also require elected officials, their spouses, and dependent children to unload stock holdings and other related assets. Now, this doesn't begin until 2027. There's some parts I'm like, meh. The punishment for failure to divest would be the monthly salary of the sanctioned official, which I don't think is enough, or 10% of the value of the assets at issue, whichever is greater. There's also, it raises the penalty from 200 to 500 for failure to disclose the stock holdings. I think the penalty can be higher, right? I feel like it should be higher, but I like this idea. I like the idea of you have to do it because they should not be able to benefit from information that they only receive in order to make stock trades. Like, how is that ever okay?
This is a long time coming.
Absolutely.
But I feel very cynical about it. And I haven't read it. I haven't read the legislation. But I feel like if Republicans voted for this, there's some kind of loophole that allows them to still collect their cold hard cash. What is it?
I mean, I think the loophole, of course, is the punishment isn't that big. I mean, if
Yeah.
you are making buku bucks off of the stock and you have to pay $500 as a fine,
Well,
there's the loophole.
did they include it as an ethics violation where, you could get censured or you could get disciplined for this?
I don't know. The measure includes a penalty to disclose under a provision also that requires information be made public. Senator John Ossoff of Georgia, Democrat, Josh Hawley, Republican of Missouri, Greg Peters, Democrat of Michigan, and Jeff Merkley, a Democrat of Oregon. So Hawley was the only Republican on it. Did this. I like it. I, honestly, you know who was against it? Good old Nancy Pelosi was against it.
Wow.
I know, because she was called out for it. She's like, we should be allowed. No, Nancy. No, you should not.
You should not be allowed, Nancy.
You should not. So
Nancy, love you, but no.
no,
Yeah.
are you effing kidding me? Hell no. No, you should not. You should only make, you should have to be on the lowest paid health insurance plan of the average American. You know what I mean? Like, Congress should not be getting rich
No.
being a public servant.
You're
But
there
they
to
do.
serve. You're not there to profit.
Exactly,
But
but they
historically,
do,
profit
but
is
they
exactly
do.
what happens. Absolutely.
Such BS.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to throw that in because we actually had some good news coming out of Washington, which I don't know. I was so shocked by. So I don't know. So again, there's some good, there's some bad political news. Again, um, the whole Biden stepping down thing, we're keeping an eye on. He's also, I guess, Biden's also going to be sitting down with Lester Holt. I think that's going to be happening. Let me see when that's going to be happening on Monday. He's going
Hmm.
to be sitting down with Lester Holt on Monday in Texas.
He's trying to reassure people big time.
I don't know, man. He doesn't need to reassure me. He doesn't even. There's nobody else to vote for until
Yeah,
there
it
is.
doesn't matter.
You know what I'm voting? I'm voting for the Democratic nominee.
If
Period.
there's
Whoever
something
that
wrong
is.
with them, Kamala slides in. So what does it
There you
matter
go.
whether it's him or her,
I
right?
don't need to say it
Done.
anymore. All right.
Mm-mm.
To end the show, I want to switch gears entirely. It is Friday. It's the back end of summer. A lot of people, my brother is in Italy right now,
A
enjoying
lot of
Europe.
people are traveling.
Yes.
Big vacations. I've seen on my Facebook feed, people are going to Italy and France
Oh,
and
yeah.
all kinds of fun places. Lots of Hawaii
Exactly.
vacations. Yeah.
All sorts of places. But I want to show you this one video right now. This is what's happening in Barcelona. I'm going to say it like the people in Barcelona say. I've never been there. I'd love to go. But
Hmm.
apparently, people that live in Barcelona don't like the tourists. Look at this. They are using water guns to to squirt water at vacationers because they
Why?
don't like tourism. They're trying to limit tourism in Barcelona,
Crec que és
and
molt
it's also
important això
happening
aquí per dues
in
raons.
Italy.
La primera és
The
contra
first,
el model
well,
econòmic
I'm not going to
basat
read
en un
it.
turisme
But
massiu.
anyways,
Perquè
so basically, she's saying the fight is against the economic model based on mass tourism because the model makes us poor and more dependent. Basically, it's kind of what we're seeing in places like Lake Tahoe as well, right? It's the tourists are kind of pushing out the people who live in places like Barcelona, also in Venice.
Hmm.
You're seeing the same sorts of things. What was interesting in that article in the Washington Post, at the very end of the article, they're saying most of the tourism that you're seeing are people that actually live in that country. So, for instance, if you're in
Like a staycation.
California, well,
Yeah.
it's like people that live in California
Yeah.
going to Lake Tahoe, right?
Yeah.
I live
Yeah.
in this friggin' state. It's my state. I'm allowed to go to Lake Tahoe, right? These people are allowed to travel within their own area, and yet they don't like it. I just find it very interesting. I wonder if it's also a consequence of social media, right? Oh my
Yeah.
God. Thailand sees it a lot of the places, right? Iceland has seen it. You go to these pools and, oh, it looks isolated because this one social media influencer has this one kind of cropped shot where it's just them. And then you get there and there's thousands of people trying to
Yeah.
get the same isolated shots in the same very over touristed place, and the people that live there are like, get the hell out, please
I've
don't
never
post it on social media.
I've never seen that type of behavior though, where you would
Right.
shoot a water gun at people to get them to leave or feel uncomfortable or whatever.
Exactly.
That's
Okay.
awful.
Apparently, it was organized. Local authorities estimated 2,800 people participated in the protest. One member of the organizing group said as many as 20,000 people from 170 organizations took part in the protest. The water guns was a spontaneous thing, but they said they used them because while it's not nice, it's also not violent. So it was kind of what you do to a cat to get off
Can
the
you
counter.
imagine spending thousands of money on a
No,
vacation and
I would
going there
be
and you're sitting having dinner with your
pissed.
family and there are people shooting water guns at you to get you to go home?
Would it stop you from going to Barcelona, though?
Yes.
Would it?
Absolutely. Yes.
So you're telling me that if it was always your dream to go to Barcelona and you saw that headline, you're like, let's not go. Are you serious?
Maybe I would wait until things evened out a little bit.
But I don't think it ever will. I mean, unless like a tragedy, like God forbid, like what happened in Lahaina or something, right? I mean,
Yeah.
or it's this
Well,
over
even
tourism and yet we want people to come because we need their, like that sort of
sure.
thing. But I mean, Barcelona, it's just over too many people.
Well, even in Hawaii, there's over tourism and people are rude and they go
Exactly.
off trail and they're blocking roads and they're doing all kinds of things. And still, the Hawaiians are like, listen, we need the tourists to come back. We need the money. But if the
Mhm.
people of Barcelona are thinking, tourists, go home, we don't even want you here.
Right.
There are so many places to visit in this world. The last place I want to go is where they're marching in the street to get me to go home.
Exactly.
Yuck.
I mean, I've told you guys that next year my husband and I are planning a trip to Italy. I've never been to Europe. I've never been anywhere in Europe. And thank you so much for those that have emailed me with ideas and travel agents and I'm kind of overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed. I know where I kind of want to go, but I'm overwhelmed of like the direction I want to go. Like, do I do kind of, I want to go here, I'm just going to get an Airbnb and just casually go? Or do I get a travel agent, organize it so much that way? So I'm still of two minds. And
Mm-hmm.
again, I kind of feel like I'm paralyzed a little bit. But then I see things like this with Venice, one of the places I want to go on the list of places that's totally overcrowded, and being like, well, should I look for more off the beaten path places of going? You know? And then I see that there's this commercial for Airbnb, of course, and it's that Paris one. Have you seen it where it's like, why go to all the places where all the tourists are? Why not go to the Parisy side of Paris, right? And I'm like, well, that's an Airbnb type of thing, but it does make you think like Airbnb is not a good idea because of what it does to the people that live there. But I'm just
Sure.
saying, like, how do you see the real? That's what you always want. I want to see the real.
Yeah.
I want to see the
Sure.
real Venice. But how do you see that without, taking advantage of the people that live there?
I think you could pull a fast one on them because you are part Italian. You could fit in with the Italians if you learn how to speak a little bit of
Just
Italian
learn the language, Nikki. It's
and you
fine.
make sure you don't wear tennis shoes and a baseball hat. I think you're going to be good to go.
That's pretty much. I wouldn't
Yeah.
wear either. I'm not the most stylish of people. But yeah, I just want to go. Honestly, Kim, and I think I said this the last time. All I want to do when I go to Italy is I want to drink wine. I saw this one video where people were talking about wine. I don't know if it was all in Europe or it was just Italy. That the wine is so good it doesn't even get you drunk. Like American wine versus European wine or Italian wine, it doesn't even get you drunk. It's so good. Like that's what I want. I want to eat. I want to ride my bicycle and I want to just drink wine. Like that's
Yeah.
really and I'm not saying I don't want to see like the landmarks, but I'm telling you, I just want to like observe people. I want to be with them. Does that make sense?
No,
I don't want to
totally.
stand in line
Yep.
to see things, if that makes sense. I just
No.
want to be there.
Yeah.
But I
I
also don't
think
want to I don't want to miss the when in
Yeah.
Rome type of thing either. Like, did
No,
you
I
really not
think
go and
everyone
see
should
that?
everyone should go to Europe at least once in their lifetime.
Yes.
It's an eye opener and a game changer, and it makes you realize we're not that different.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I fully believe that as well, but I don't want to be rushed. I don't want to go there and be like, I
Yeah.
got to see this. I want to definitely wake up and not waste my time. I don't want to stay in the hotel, but I don't want to be rushed. I want to
Mhm.
sit in a cafe. I want to eat. I want to sit and have chats with random people. And that's what I want.
Mhm.
That's all I'm dreaming of. And so, yeah, I got to get on the planning. Everyone's like, planning is the funnest part. And I feel I don't know why paralyzed by it because I feel like I'm going to miss something. And so, yeah, I need to get it together.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to get like a book instead of like trying to do it online because I feel like
Mhm.
online is so much information that I'm going to just overwhelm myself. So
You can't go
freaking
wrong.
much.
You really can't go wrong.
I know, right? Once I'm there, and then I can
Yeah.
just hop on a train and
gonna be
so
great.
much
Are you
daydreaming.
are you guys doing any trips, even little trips this summer?
No, I mean, this is pretty much it.
Mhm.
I mean, I do have an announcement. I haven't made it. I mean, you know what I'm going to say, but I mean, it's the middle of July. I was going to kind of save it for the end, but
Yeah.
I mean, should I say it now or should I just wait?
Go ahead. Why not?
Okay, well, I'll say it now and I'll remind you guys towards the
Yeah.
end. I did get a job. I
Yay!
start actually in
Woo!
20 days. I am going to be working for a school. I'm not going to be a teacher, but I'm going to be getting into the education system. And I'm very, very excited about it. Kim and I are still kind of mulling over. The show is still going to
Mhm.
exist. Don't worry. It's too important of a year, especially. This show is not going away. Of course, what it's going to be, we're still figuring out, but it's still going to be here. But yeah, I got a job. And so I'm very, very
I'm
much
so happy
excited.
for you.
So that's happening. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just going to be staying cool. I literally just went and got the kids a bunch of art supplies to get them off their freaking phones.
Mhm.
My daughter's in summer school, so there's that still going on.
So is
We still
mine.
have family in town. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's still summertime, but we're just lazy. It's the lazy days of
Yeah.
summer that I'm really trying to enjoy. Are you doing anything? I mean, I kind of
We
feel
got a couple
like
summer camps. People
there
have
you
summer
go.
camps going and summer classes people are doing over
I
here.
love
Kids are
you.
doing.
I love you.
And then
Yes.
my husband and I are both working. I think
Yeah.
we might try maybe to go up to the Redwoods one
Oh,
weekend.
that would be nice.
Yeah, just to kind of do something and
Right.
get a little different scenery.
Yeah, that
But
sounds good.
nothing big. No big
I
trips.
just want to soak in the rest of
Yeah.
the summer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And honestly, because it's so been freaking hot, Like, honestly, I don't really have the energy to do much except sit in the AC or sit by the freaking pool. So that's mine. I'm finally feeling better too. So that's awesome as well. So
Yay.
not going to Barcelona or Venice or anything else, but if
No.
you guys are, and I'm doing the roper romp this weekend, so I'll have some fun pictures for Monday.
I'll
And
look
my
forward
hot
to
ass
it.
wig and everything like that.
Whew.
All right, you guys, click the thumbs up button, show your support for the show. We appreciate you guys being here each and every day. And please, if you can support the show, it's why we are here and we love doing it for you. So just go to thenikkimadoroshow.com. Click that Patreon link and donate whatever you can because it goes directly to myself and to Kim. And we appreciate every single dollar you donate each and every day. If you like PayPal, it's easy. Just go to paypal.com, hit the send button, put in the email address, thenikkimadoroshow@gmail.com. And it's very simple to do that as well. And we appreciate you. And then go to our sponsor, Auntie Tabby's Island Flavors, and use the coupon code Nick Kim, NIKKIM, and get yourself a bottle of the guava barbecue sauce or the hibiscus hot sauce or the pineapple hot sauce. They're all delicious. You can get the variety pack. And if you use the coupon code Nick Kim, you get 10% off each and every order. Look at Jim's face. Happy camper. Look at Dan's face. He looks like a happy camper too. So be like Jim, be like Dan, and get your max pack. And it helps support the show. We appreciate you guys so much. And I love those pictures as well. All right, you guys, we will talk again on Monday. Thank you so much. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Happy.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. Miss Brown, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow.